Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the latest in our webinar series. Myself and Amy will be hosting for you today. Now, Amy and I are both often found working away in the background for TOPdesk webinars, but as we both work in the sales team, we thought we might actually be best suited to giving this webinar. Today, we'll be talking to you about all of the resources that are available to you as a TOPdesk customer, or just as someone who may be looking for more information about our software, or what you can expect upon becoming a customer of ours. We thought it would be useful to store all of this in the one place and might be useful to you at a later date should you need to use any of our resources. So to briefly introduce, as always, we ask you to minimize the GoToWebinar player unless you want to ask us a question, and this webinar will be recorded and put onto YouTube shortly if you do want to listen again. The format of the webinar will take place as follows. I'll talk through the resources primarily available to our customers, and Amy will then take over and focus on the universal resources available both to customers and non-customers alike. We've also created a useful links slide that contains all useful addresses and locations in the one place, which we'll bring up for you at the end. So let's kick things off by talking about TOPdesk Support. Now, we thought this webinar would be a good opportunity to highlight the different ways TOPdesk can be contacted, especially if you haven't needed support for some time. TOPdesk Support are available over the phone Monday to Friday from 8:30 until 5:30, and you can use this number to get directly put through to support. Incidents can also be logged and tracked 24/7 via the Extranet, and more on this shortly, which is where you can also see useful FAQs and knowledge-based articles to see if you could resolve the issue without our assistance. There are also a few other points of contact for support, such as email, a page on our website, or new, the TOPdesk chat. So now different areas of the TOPdesk UK website have a chat pop-up which can be used to ask us questions within the service hours. But what can support help you with? Well, support includes the software and services provided by us. So this could be questions about the use of TOPdesk features and maintenance, questions about how imports and links work, the TOPdesk Extranet, update releases, registering bugs and offering workarounds, and supporting delivered customer solutions and delivered imports. Support is included in your annual subscription cost for those of you on continuous deployment, so please do take advantage of our help wherever needed. Now, as I just mentioned, I want to talk you through the Extranet in a bit more detail. So, associated with our support team is, of course, the TOPdesk Extranet. Naturally, we use our own software to provide support to our customers, and the Extranet has a really useful self-service portal that you can log into to find out more information about all things TOPdesk related. The Extranet is available at the link on the screen, and then if you just log into the self-service portal, all the content will be there. And the Extranet self-service portal looks like the following. There it is. So it's just a version of TOPdesk that we have manipulated to support our customers. Now, from the self-service portal, lots of resources are available. What can you use it for? Well, there's a support knowledge base, of course, information about product development, the ability to download new updates if you're an on-premise customer. You can also log and check the progress of your tickets with our support team, change who you have registered as your contact people, and even do things like review TOPdesk directly from the homepage, which is a subtle plug to anyone who might have something good to say about us. The tile looks like the image on this slide here. In addition, all user manuals can also be found here if you're looking for something more specific. Now, just so you know, everything is moving from the help and support site into the Extranet. So if you're looking for something, then this is now your best bet. And the Extranet can actually be reached directly from your TOPdesk through the operator side. So if you head to the menu button in your TOPdesk, you'll get direct access to the Extranet. We also wanted to recap the consultancy services that we offer outside of the norm, which include the following. We have process consultancy packages available on topics like best practice knowledge management and the service catalogue, and these are with our senior consultants. So they'll have a chat with you and suggest a set number of consultancy days in which they'll work on transforming your current processes to ensure you're at the top of your game on these topics, working to define where you want to be and how you can then get there. What's more, we offer interactive classroom-based training days available on topics of your choice for up to 10 people at a time. You might want to use these as a refresher for your operators, or you could use them to give specific training on one functionality. And don't forget about Dr. TOPdesk, of course. These are our free 1-hour consultancy sessions available once a month on a topic of your choice. If you're interested in this or any of the above, then please do email your account manager or any of us to request something. We've also started organising international events showcasing our position as service management thought leaders, such as the C event. C stands for Service Excellence Expertise and will be held on the 2nd of October in Utrecht, the Netherlands. This is going to be the follow-up from our first C event, which took place in 2016. But what is it? Well, it's a thought leadership inspired event, which will cover all of the latest topics surrounding service management, and there'll be speakers from various countries that use TOPdesk in attendance. And we already actually have one of our customers from the UK signed up to present. The event is for people who are working in all different service management verticals, not just IT, so FM, HR, and customer service topics will all be covered. For more information about the event, then please do see the link on the screen where there's a lot more available. And if you are interested in attending on the 2nd of October, speak to one of us or your account manager, and we'll be happy to advise you of the next steps. Next, I want to cover the innovation platform. Now, we've mentioned the innovation platform before in previous webinars, but it is a firm favourite of ours because we believe it sets us apart from other service management vendors. The purpose of creating the innovation platform was to ensure that we had a dedicated place where our customers could request and vote on new features for our software. So how do you go about getting started with the platform? Firstly, you need to request access through the Extranet. Then, if you head to the product development tile in the self-service portal, you can submit a form which will process and use to grant you some access. Then, you can head to tip.topdesk.com once your request has been approved. But what does the innovation platform look like for those of you who haven't seen it before? Well, here you can see a screenshot of the main home screen when you log in. Here's an example of a feature which has been released. And here is a request form that you can fill in. As you can see, based on the keywords that you type, existing suggestions will actually pop up on the right-hand side so you don't duplicate any requests that have already been made. But what else does TIP do? Well, from the innovation platform, you're able to do all of the following. Not only suggest new features, but chat with and get direct feedback from our developers, vote on new features, see new releases, see how many other people are interested in a feature, and find out workarounds until a feature is developed. Now, please do use the innovation platform because it really helps us to recognise what our customers want and to prioritise what we develop next, and that's on a global scale. Are you looking to be able to see an overview of all releases that we've made? Well, you can head to our release notes page at the following link, and you'll be given an overview of everything that we've just recently released. Now, this gets updated about 2 or 3 times a week, depending on how often updates are continuously deployed to our SaaS customers. On-premise releases are also noted here too. Each note we make gives you a brief description of what the release is and tells you which versions of TOPdesk that it applies to, so it's clear which updates are applicable to you. So for example, if you're a professional customer or an enterprise customer, you can see that there. And what's really nice about this page is that it will also link you to handy articles or blog posts related to these releases for more context and how to get started with the new features. And finally, I'd like to cover our TOPdesk on Tour event. Now, as always, we'll be hosting a TOPdesk on Tour later in the year, which is free for all of our customers. This usually takes place in autumn and will probably be in November at various locations across the UK. During the day, there will be a variety of roundtable discussions and PowerPoint presentations that you can come and sign up for. Past topics that we've covered include understanding the customer journey, improving service delivery, agile ITSM, and of course our much loved tips and tricks presentations. These events are usually spread out across the UK, and past venues we've hosted them at include the Cutty Sark, the Science Museum and the Etihad Stadium. We do also tend to throw in an offering of hospitality as well throughout the day. So that covers the resources available to our customers, but I'm now going to pass you on to Amy, who's going to talk about the universal content available to people thinking about being a TOPdesk customer, or to those who want to find out what sorts of other thought leadership resources we have available.
Great, thank you, Sam, and hi, everyone. So as Sam said, the next selection of resources that I want to talk to you about are a bit more universal. So if you aren't currently a TOPdesk customer, there are some great nuggets of information that you can benefit from before you even do become a customer. A good starting point is actually the TOPdesk website itself. From here, you can visit the resources page, where we have a collection of content and supporting documentation, such as customer cases, links to other useful resources like our webinars, which I have heard from the people that are pretty good, ebooks for best practice tips, or self-review considerations, and more along different themes. As Sam mentioned, we have regular customer events, and the information for these can also be found on this page. So either that's before or once an event has actually taken place. We always put the information from the sessions and any images from the day on here as well. You can actually see on the screen a picture of the TOPdesk on Tour tile, so that's currently on the resources page if you were interested in what happened last year. We also publish slides from the events and the presentations to the TOPdesk SlideShare, which are really easy to find by just simply searching TOPdesk through SlideShare itself. One thing to bear in mind, though, is that there's quite a lot of content there and it's used globally, so some of the slides are international, so just watch out for what the language is for the slides. But there's lots of good content in English from over the years on there already. At TOPdesk, we like to create resources and fact sheets for various themes to help our customers and other companies in the industry to start thinking about how you can improve the services that you're providing. If you've listened to previous webinars, you'll be familiar with some of the handouts that are sent out afterwards, such as our knowledge management webinar. We sent out a self-assessment of how advanced your knowledge currently is, alongside a handy guide for tips and tricks for creating a smoother experience for your customers. We also recently sent out a toolbox for helping to create better customer journeys, which included a blank template to map out your own journeys alongside tips and examples as a guide. Outside of the webinar follow-up, though, these documents and more are always available. So if you're ever looking for resources or ideas, it's always worth getting in touch just to see what content we actually do have existing, which might be able to add value to your improvements. We are also always welcome to suggestions about what content might be useful to you and other companies. So we're always happy to help on advising on these desired topics, but it is useful to know what it is that you really want some assistance with. So if you do need any direction on any of the content, where it's available, where it's to find it, then please just let us know. A new useful page, should you be after any information on our SaaS hosting, can be accessed at the following link, which is at the bottom of the screen currently. Whether this is because you're currently looking at TOPdesk as a potential supplier, perhaps you're looking to upgrade to SaaS, or you're just interested in a recap of the ins and outs of specific hosting information, and perhaps your organization want a bit more information about what it is that we're doing here, this can be found on this page. So as you can see on the screenshot, this page includes an overview of such areas like security, availability, who's responsible for what, various certifications and other topics there. But alongside this, we are also always happy to send across more information and more specific in-depth information on each area if you do need it. So just get in touch and one of us will be happy to sort that out for you. But this page is a great indication of which areas we have information on there just to start you off. Another nice area for additional tips or industry thoughts is always the TOPdesk blog. We currently have 2 different TOPdesk blogs, each of them has a different theme. The first is a general blog for industry-driven content, which is grouped by topic. Maybe perhaps some examples for you of the most recent blogs we have are the self-service and automation one, which was actually by one of our webinar regulars, Hannah, which answered some frequently asked questions on the topic. Another is one we called 5 questions about agile services answered, and another which gives 3 steps to better customer experience management at the service desk. That's just a few examples of the content that we do have on this particular one. And our other blog is the Updates blog, which handily you can find by just adding /updates to the end of the standard blog URL. This blog has useful articles based on our continuous deployment releases. It's a good place to keep an eye on any changes, tips and tricks, or insight into technology changes that have taken place. And a couple of examples for you would be the one that's on the screen currently, which is getting to know the new asset management. And another perhaps is the integrating your statuses with Kanban. Both of these can be easily subscribed to on the top right-hand side of each page, as you can see on the slides. This means that you can then receive monthly digest emails of the new content published, which you might be interested in, and then you can actually look more into the specific articles as you wish, or simply you could just go to the website every now and again to check out what's been published recently. But the subscriptions are actually independent to one another, so should you only wish to get updates from one and not the other, you won't have to receive both streams. Now, a public-facing resource which we do often talk about and advise both customers and interested companies to look into is the product roadmap. So as Sam mentioned when she was discussing the innovation platform, we actively encourage feature requests from customers to help develop our continuous deployment updates in line with customer needs and industry trends. The product roadmap works in hand with this as an easy Kanban overview of what we're working on and where it's currently up to. So as you can see on the screen, the columns show what developments are upcoming, what we're currently working on, and what has already been done. So it does follow on quite nicely from what happens once a request on the innovation platform has actually been accepted. The roadmap is used alongside the innovation platform, but equally it does include the ability to comment and like specific cards, which can then again be replied to by TOPdesk staff like the innovation platform. But it's a really useful board to keep an eye on to see whether there are any gaps in functionality. If you've discovered these, they might already be in development, and then therefore you wouldn't need to request it on the platform. But like I said, the roadmap is publicly accessible too. So if you aren't currently a TOPdesk customer, you can still take a look at this to see where we're hoping to head towards with our product. But the last area that I'd like to talk to you about is where you can find information on our API and other development resources. So TOPdesk actively want to encourage customers to take advantage of the API and build your own links if you do have the resources to do so in-house. And as a result, publicly accessible documentation is available at developers.topdesk.com. The page has a general introduction to the API with some benefits, as well as tutorials and a link to the API release notes. From there, it's easy to search through the available modules that can be currently built on with the API. At the moment, these modules do include incident, reservations, services, change, the knowledge base, asset management, operations management, the supporting files area, and also the self-service portal look and feel, and a general API section as well. And then within each of the module pages, there's also a breakdown of common requests which involve predefined GET request or POST request commands or queries, which can then be used to help build your own links. So these also then form part of the step-by-step instructions for each of the common requests. Alongside the API page, integrations that exist through partners or TOPdesk built ones can be found at marketplace.topdesk.com. So do have a look if you're after anything in particular, it might already be built on there. And I did mention that the API release notes are available on this page, but as Sam mentioned earlier, we do have the release notes page as well. And from this page, you can specifically filter to only see the API release notes if you wanted to see what had been updated without having to filter through all the general updates as well. So that's actually everything we did want to speak to you about in this webinar today. I hope it's been a nice, useful guide to have a walk through some of the content and the resources available and perhaps how you can start using them. On the slide, you can see the main areas that we covered from the Extranet, customer events, TOPdesk support, the innovation platform on the roadmap, release notes in the API documentation, to blogs and website resources. We've also put links on here for you for how you can access them as well, or perhaps some useful contacts. The webinar will be available on YouTube shortly as well, so if you haven't managed to jot them all down, don't worry, you'll have access to this afterwards. But should you ever have any questions in the future about any of the resources covered, perhaps any suggestions that you'd like to see or anything else, and you aren't too sure about who your best person is to contact, firstly, you can always contact Sam or myself, and we're always happy to help, or if it's something that someone else is best suited to, we will forward this on to them. Your account manager is also always a useful person to have a contact with. And we do have an info@topdesk.co.uk email address, which is monitored daily, and we would then forward that on again to the best person who's suited to help you with the inquiry. So really the only thing left to say is thank you for listening. Sam and I will be sticking around for a little bit now to ask any questions on the questions box. And don't forget that this is going to be available on YouTube soon. So if you did want to recap any content, you can check that out shortly. So thank you again for listening, and we hope to see you all at the next one.